Hey everybody, welcome to the Coding Zoo. If this is your first time joining, my name is Shane. This is the Java Building Blocks playlist, Java Building Blocks series. In today's lesson, we are going to cover operators in Java and casting variables. So we're going to learn how to use the operators and how casting works. If that's something new to you, if you're new to Java, definitely stick around. We're going to jump right into that. All right, so hey, on my desktop I have operators and casting.java file here. I've got an operators and casting class and a main method. So I'm going to go ahead and start showing you some of the operators. So what is an operator? Well, I'm referring to, of course, subtraction, addition, multiplication, any type of operator like that. We're going to go over those today. So let's start with multiplication. So in our last lesson, we learned that variables in Java are statically typed. So I'm going to create an integer variable called multiplication result. So int multiplication result equals. So I'm going to cast this variable. I'm going to set this variable to the number 2, and I'm going to do multiplication. So in Java, multiplication is done with an asterisk. So 2 times 4. So I just set a variable, multiplication result, equal to 2 times 4. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and print out that variable to see the result. It should be 8. So I'm going to type in sys out in Eclipse. I'm going to do Control Spacebar for a shortcut. And my computer is going really slow today. And I'm going to type in the variable. And let's run it. So it's going to automatically save it. And it printed out the number 8. Let's move on to the next one. So that is multiplication. So the next one, I'm going to create a double variable called double result. And I'm going to set it to that integer variable, multiplication result, times a literal double, like let's just say 3.2. Okay, so now I have double result equals an integer times a double. So I'm actually using two different data types here. So what's happening? So how can I use a integer and a double in the same statement? How do I know whether I want the result to be an int or to be a double? How does it know which one to use? Well, in this case, certain ones are going to take precedence over others. So in this case, it's going to cast it. It's going to auto cast it to a double. So multiplication result, which would be 8 times 3.2, the result's going to be put into a double. It's going to automatically change multiplication result into a double. So you have a double times a double. And it's going to set the double result to the results. It's automatically casting it. It's changing it from one variable type to another. So I'm going to do sys out double result. Now let's do that again. We'll print that in a second. I'm going to change the multiplication variable. I'm going to reuse the multiplication variable, result variable. So multiplication result, it's an integer because we typed it as an integer above. I'm going to set it to basically the same thing. All right, so here we have multiplication result equals 8, because previously it was set to 8 times 3.2. Well, you'll notice there's a big X there. That's because it can't automatically set it to an integer. It doesn't know what to do with it. So you basically need to tell it, what are you trying to do here? Well, I'm trying to get an integer out of this. Okay, so I'm going to cast it. So when you cast the results, you do it like this. So I'm going to do int, and I'm going to put parentheses around these two, and that'll get rid of the x. So 8 times 3.2 is going to equal double, and then I'm going to cast it to an int. So this will equal, the result will be an int and no longer be a double. So let's run that. All right, so I ran it, and you see at the bottom here, it printed out the 8, and then it did the next set, which is 8 times 3.2 equals 25.6. It automatically resulted in a double. And the very next one, we'll see that the casting of the result, 25.6, into an int resulted in a int, and that int is 25. So it basically changed it from a double result to an integer result because we told it to using a casting statement. So the cast is in parentheses, and I'm casting it to an int. So that's called casting. All right, let's next do a division. So we've done multiplication. What's division? Let's do division. Double division result equals 13, and it's a forward slash divided by 2. So 13 divided by 2, semicolon. There we go. Sys out, control space, and let's print it out. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and run it. All right, so if you look at this, the division result, 13 divided by 2, put into the double division result, ended up being 6. So is 13 divided by 2 6? Well, we just said that doubles can handle decimals, so shouldn't that be 6.5? What went wrong there? So what went wrong is that this evaluated, and then the results was put into this variable. Well, 13 divided by 2 is 13 is an integer, 2 is an integer, so it doesn't know that I'm expecting a double. So let's try something. So let's try something different. I can get 13.0 divided by 2.0. Try that. And I've got 6.5. So that's one way of doing it. Is there another way I can do it? Let's try this. Let's get rid of the 2.0. And can we just do this? Can we cast it? All right, let's see if that will work. There we go. So we used casting to say, hey, I want the result of this to be a double, not an integer. So that's one way to do it. Another way, I wonder if this will work. Let's see. 13D, 2D. Is that a valid statement? Oh, I think it is. Let's try to run it. And there we go. So by putting the D there, I'm basically telling Java, hey, this is a decimal, and this 2 is a decimal. So don't do that very often, but that's one way of doing it. Let's move on. That's division, and more examples of casting. Let's do adding. All right, so let's go ahead and add an integer result. I'm going to take that division result and add an integer to it. Of course, that division result is a double. So what do I need to do? Well, I need to cast it. So let's see. Addition result equals division result plus, let's say, 2. And put my semicolon. Let's cast it. So I'm going to cast that division result. You notice I'm not putting parentheses around both sides here like I did in the other example. There's no need to. I'm going to, since this 2 is an integer already, there's no need to do this. If it was 2.4 and you didn't do this, well, yeah, then you're going to run into problems because this int basically is trying to cast the division result, which it does. So cast it from a double to an int, but nothing casts this 2.4. So you end up with a double result trying to go into an int variable. So this is casting this variable. It's not casting this whole statement. If you put parentheses around it, it's going to cast the result. So it's going to run this first, get the outcome, and then it's going to cast it to an int. So in this case, it'd be 6.5 plus 2.5, right? And it casts it into an int. Let's print it out. And addition result. Now you'll notice it's 9. So 6.5 plus 2.5 equals 9. Now, what if I didn't do that? What if I did this? Well, what's it going to do? First, it's going to cast this double to an int. Then it's going to cast this double to an int. And then it's going to get a result. What would that result be? Well, it's no longer going to be 9 because it's not doing 6.5 plus 2.5. It is going to be 8 because it's casting the 6.5 to 6 and casting the 2.5 to 2, and then it's doing the addition. So just some nuances with casting. You need to understand those things. All right, let's move on to subtraction. Int. Four minus 1. Let's do something simple. Okay. So as you get to using Eclipse more, you'll notice that there's certain key shortcuts you can use that make things a little faster as you're doing things. So you'll notice that I am doing sys out, pressing Control space, Enter. So that's better than typing that whole thing out. So a little shortcut. I'm going to type my variable name starting out, Control space, and pick the variable. You can actually pick it up for me. So pretty neat shortcut. Save a little time. That should make our videos a little faster as we go forward. We shall see. Okay, so I've got my subtraction. I'm going to do Alt-Shift-X and then J to run application. 4 minus 1 equals 3. So you can see the 3 at the bottom here. It ran it and equals 3. So we have examples of casting here. We've gone over multiplication, subtraction, division, and addition. Next, let's look at a special case here. Let's talk about adding strings together. Can you add a string together? You actually can. So I'm going to do first name equals Shane, and string second name equals Crouch, and string name equals first name plus second name, and semicolon, and then do, okay, let's run it. What do you think I'm going to get? Shane Crouch? Shane space Crouch? Or what? What do you think I'll get? I've got Shane Crouch, all one word. So it actually put the two words together and there's no space in there. Now I could fix that by doing this. And now you see Shane space Crouch. So I was able to add those two strings together. So in Java, you can do this. You can add strings together this way. It's definitely not the best way to do that. And future lections will go over better ways of handling that. But it is an option. So I've added first name to my last name, and I put a space in the middle. All right, so let's go over one more operator. I'm going to do sys out, control space, press enter. All right, so I'm going to type in 5, and I'm going to type in a percentage. Now this is considered a modulus. 5, modulus symbol there, 2, and I'm going to print out the results. So what does this operator do? Well, it basically says, hey, let's divide 5 by 2 and give me the remainder. Is there a remainder if I divide 5 by 2? So let's run it. Control Alt Shift X, press J, and I ran it, and 5 divided by 2 is 2 with a remainder of 1. So you'll notice it printed the remainder here. Hey, so that's it. Pretty simple. So that's some of the operators in Java. This is also how you do casting in Java. Hopefully those examples make sense when you cast one variable type to another. Sometimes that can automatically be done. If you have any questions about operators, leave me a message below. I'll definitely get back to you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, hey, your subscription is very helpful to us. It helps us to improve and get the word out. So click the subscribe button below and click the bell icon to get alerts. And if you like this video, please click like. If you dislike it, click dislike. And let us know how we can improve. How can we make this video better for you? We'd love to help you learn how to program, and we appreciate you joining us. So I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.